Hi, my name is Brian Ausland, and I'm the Director of Education at Navigation North Learning Solutions. We are a federal contractor that is supporting the ongoing implementation of Learning Registry for the U.S. Department of Ed Tech. And today we'd like to show you a little bit of the data implementation that we've modeled up between myself and our Chief Engineer, Dan Krieger. Learning Registry has a primary goal of helping educational content reach intended educator learner audiences within their digital domains. For us, the work boils down to two primary components. One is publishing, and in that we're trying to help lower the technical threshold for content provider agencies to publish and manage their data in the Learning Registry to make it more accessible through a tool called Easy Publish, which we've further developed and implemented for the Department of Ed. And really to help move that data to consuming agencies or those agencies that are doing the forward-facing work with educators in the field directly. In that, we end up helping those educational support and coordination teams access and customize better exposure of Learning Registry data out to their constituents, which typically is teachers, educator, paraprofessionals, and educator leaderships across schools and districts in the United States. And that data is actively managed through the Learning Registry search widget. I'm going to show you an example of what these two tools look like within the Learning Registry system. We'll start with Easy Publish. Easy Publish is managed by signing on through a Mozilla Persona account onto the Learning Registry system. Once those agencies have registered an account and have a publishing account with Easy Publish through the Mozilla Persona authentication, they can upload individual records for single item loads, or they can upload multiple records in batches with a CVS template that's provided on the interface of that tool. When data comes into Learning Registry through the Easy Publish interface, for a single record, it looks similar to this in that there's a simple title for the resource, URL to pass along for access to the resource, any type of descriptive data that can come along, including the narrative description, subject area, grade levels of which the resource is appropriate, or et cetera, as you move through that screen. The Easy Publish process looks for as much as information as it can be provided by the content publishing agency, but it allows for any subset of this data to be provided. The more the better, of course, when it comes to metadata. We're looking at additional items such as grade, standards, accessibility, author, date in which it was created, date which is modified, et cetera. And as much as that as we can collect through the process as possible is better for the consumers than in making decisions around these materials being managed through their system for their educators. The CSV template is docked and prepared for agencies when they have a large collection of resources and resource record data to give them Learning Registry. The template allows for the upload of those records in a single batch. Once published, the agency can then edit, delete, update those records in Learning Registry through an interface as shown in this screen here. And that allows for the ongoing management of their data in Learning Registry as they modify their collection, update their collection, make additions to their collections, or purge their collections over time. All of that can be managed through Easy Publish and make sure that the constituents in the field are getting the most recent data profiles for the collections represented in Learning Registry. We'll go on to what our tool set that we recently launched looks for consuming agencies who wanted to come access this data and make it available to their constituent groups. They tap Learning Registry data by default in whole, or they can elect to set up a filter to put specific types of resources in front of their constituents or their user communities when they develop out their widget. This feature allows various state education agencies, professional associations, local ed agencies, national projects, to customize their access to the almost 500,000 records that are on Learning Registry to date, and make those available specifically, for instance, if they're a STEM project and they want to just have STEM-based materials, they can filter that as such and then make sure that those types of materials are more appropriately surfacing for their users. Custom filters can be created to include publishing agency by domain, or they can filter for keyword and topic areas. We've also added some facets to the search widget manager interface and filters. They can discourage materials that they consider partially relevant, and that will simply cause those materials to not readily come up in a search through Learning Registry as they implement it on their sites, but won't completely purge those materials from the system altogether from their search. However, we do have an exclude feature which allows a consumer agency to say, these are materials we don't deem relevant to our audience, or these are keywords or topic areas that aren't relevant to our audience, and we prefer those results to not show when using the widget on our site. So they can really do some nice customization there with the type of data they're returning to their users. The Search Widget Manager also allows for some design features to be modified. Not too elaborate, but enough that they can modify the consistency of colors, font styles, etc., so they match their site so it doesn't have a real foreign impact when they embed this widget on their pages. They can actively see a demo of their choices in the actual tool, so they're being able to visually identify exactly what kind of data is being surfaced through their filter and exactly what the widget looks like in terms of design that they're applying, so they can make decisions while in edit mode. And finally, the widget tool, once they have those two pieces dialed in on the filtering and the design, it just creates a simple embed snippet for them to grab and copy and paste into their page, as I'm showing here in this model. And once they do, that widget will appear to their constituents as designed and as framed out in their sign. They can put in their own logo of their project or their agency. What is persistent within the widget, however, is the Powered by Learning Registry, just to, in a very subtle way, identify the Learning Registry as empowering this search and this framework to make these materials available in this way. Some of the implementation models that we've seen through this technology from across the nation takes different shapes and forms as we kind of collect those and support those agencies that are working to use this widget for variations of the data on this widget. One that we'd like to share today is the work being done in Illinois through their ISLE platform. They consumed a collection that California has developed in the area of CTE and STEM. California annually puts $375,000 to organizing teams of CTE and STEM educators for online lesson development. They publish those lessons and materials and embedded resources to their own teachers in California through a system called ctonline.org. We then published that data on behalf of that project to Learning Registry from California. And those materials were acquired and published as collection data through the Illinois state learning environment. And they, upon acquiring and publishing that data within California's analytics, became the #2 consumer nationally of those materials, where they have typically sat down around numbers 6, 7, or 8 in the year prior to that. And so their consumption rates for those materials as tracked by California escalated significantly once they acquired that data and integrated into their own system for Illinois educators to access and use. So that was a win for the educators in Illinois who found those to be useful, and it was also a win for California to see that the materials they produced had been shared and found to be of value by educators in another state. And Learning Registry enabled that process to happen. In the end, we're trying to work with various vendors and providers to move Learning Registry data intelligently into the interfaces of their own digital curriculum authoring tools and resources. And the aim there is trying to move agencies who have a lot of high-value instructional digital resources within their collections to a model of making that data available through the registry, not with the intent of necessarily always moving educators back to their home site or their home environment, but actually allowing tool developers to integrate that data so that their content within a national project or a federal collection can actually make its way into the interface and tools of a system where educators are in a natural and native environment that they've adopted the use of in their own classroom instruction, in their own school and district initiatives. And that data would then, the learning registry data would become a collection of valuable assets for those teachers in those environments that they're accustomed to using on a day-to-day basis. And for us, we kind of see that as the next step that we're aiming for in this next year, the learning registry data. And something we think that will actually bring that project full scale in implementation on a state-by-state basis. The team that has been working on this project comes, as I said, as a contractor largely out of our office, is myself, our chief engineer Dan Krieger, and our director of technology services Joe Hobson, and our OET support team in DC is Richard Collada, Joseph South, Steve Midgley, and our project monitor Bernadette Adams. If there are any questions about Learning Registry or any methodologies by which to get data into Learning Registry or move data back out of Learning Registry for educator consumption, we are more than happy to help, and we're under contract to provide that support. And you can find us at the email addresses you see here, or go to our site, navnorth.com, and contact us through that mechanism. Thank you very much.